We further see one of right-wing terrorist threats are high COE 23 anti-government extremists resulted in more deaths in the previous 6 years. Right-wing extremists have no standard social media played a substantial role. And another January 6th coming to 23 back in the season where ratified the revolution, a lot of people living in notified the decline of Great America. It would be 2024 like 23 next year election to be key event for possible violence. Social media is to blame Bear 21. However, the need to express their viewpoints contra their own and thereby increase polarization. Indeed, Rubisky 19 social media played a direct role in the radicalization process. 90% of the extremists repeal trials radicalization with the intent to not do enough to prevent their platform from being used by groups of radicalizing group or with the claims were barred by Section 230 use domestic terror goes nuclear. And part 21 extremists represent a unique nature because their problems in military mind infiltrate nuclear facilities where they access sensitive information, nuclear materials to asking against 18 nuclear terrorists, use active nuclear materials against targets, impel nuclear arms to asking against other states, through nuclear wars. The C2 cartels are more violent and more expansive. The economics 23 Mexican gangs are increasing powerful, diversified. The DE disrupt similar to the greatest strike that our nation has ever faced this year is the bring birth 23 Mexican 24 looks economically stagnant. The nation's ability against expanding cartels 24 wars far more bound in 2018. To the ratios companies from liability allowing cartels to expand through sales, remove salt, nation 120. To the price companies from liability where they bomb proposed about user companies turn blind eyes and the inability to keep up on faulty algorithms and doing here when the real issues. Profits users trying to listen to narcotics easily through social media platforms or avenues from online illicit drugs that from $15 million in 2012 to $180 million. Real just when companies responsible for repeal is key to government crackdowns. ACCO 20 things that Section 230 social media platforms are broad and meaning for user content even when they know the content of the same violent cartel is being fair. According to lawmakers made that first hand over evidence of illegal activity. AI tools already exist to solve the issues in an issue about will not capability. Fair 21. AI can help organizations rapidly process data, generate completely unmasked threat actors, and diversify this was over round 22. International liability war week and cartels who re-escalate conflicts in war between Mexican cartels as per other parts of Latin America that causes state collapse. Post 19 numbers say the voting class voice of the country didn't take them for drug use. Failed states are a threat. Multiply options 16. Threats including terror, pandemics, spread of conflict estimated from varietal state crisis in 2 states and collapsing breeding grounds that threaten the world. C3 is genocide. Social media flames fan the flame of targeted violence. HMM 23. Recent cases include Sri Lanka, Burma, India, Ethiopia, very long surrounding social media influence on large-scale group violence, representing disinformation, naming coordination attacks platforms for atrocity risk. For example, AI 23 meta substantially contributed to advocating and forcible displacement over 700,000 Rohingya 2017 money. Is yet the price of survivors with the rounding Section 230 lost money could basically be held out for complicity and genocide and return federal law. No, 230 against online service providers brought in media conduct was by third-party performance central sauce. Congress will permit suits against social media companies for complicity, crimes against humanity, withdrawal of immunity for conduct that contributes to mass atrocities would be helpful step to prevent genocide and crimes against humanity. Otherwise, AI is the absolute effective regulation industry will repeat itself over and over again. Genocide, displacing close to 20 migration from countries characterized by severe loss of life and infrastructure. Bosnia, Rwanda, Syria, genocide is the ultimate driver and subject to murdering police will seek asylum elsewhere. ASAP, genocide cycle, war and forces displacement, refugees, flow, spill over, and our existential prayer, when events sugar mass flight, provoking chaos, migration to international conflict, shock, AI, one after another will regulate picture food prices at the same time as mass migration. Consequences will be failure states and African United Nations, global numbers rate on systemic collapse rates, the prospect of catastrophic risk failures, cascade Z4 politics, Biden wins now, she 24. Many are crypto coins of flurry, full support, Trump polls by news outlets rely on outdated methods, wrong media, no indication will be right this time. Republicans are talking to Gen Z, effective message on social media, church, Biden will come back into the White House, defakes, make repeal urgent, or second mission 23, an army of fake defakes, land in 2024 is going to be an onslaught of domestic foreign entities dedicated and influencing the outcome of social media platforms, better trust and safety teams, this mismanagement, regulatory oversight, a joke rush will be running almost a donut, water room, external interference comes with election causes 23. Russia, Iran, and China engaged in interference efforts ahead of 2024 election, the first in which multiple authoritarian actors simultaneously interfere with election media interview, use all these disposing devices funded on American candidates. That means Biden loses, Russian authorities running act. West 22, use in touch with that Putin authorized Russians to engage in campaign to denigrate finance, getting NSD via misinformation, unsubstantiated dedicated alleged allegations in a foundational catalyst on misinformation to win. To cover 23, Trump used social media to amplify distortions about remarkable success in convincing the public. Trump using that interview from the White House by an electorate that believes his false. Trump made misinformation major campaign attack from repeals key, forces companies to crack down on external misinformation. By 23, this man is Section 230 posting strongly liability on online control, reducing disinformation, liability versus towards less argument, losing questionable content, most only liable solve defects around 21, defect right for liability from family 234 company that minimize videos impact avoid large fines for steps of litigation, holding companies liable to video from being circulated from removing companies who invest in tools that so defects will be removed immediately upon upload. After action, misinformation turns high files from the 24 election week. If decided by swing voters and will depend on more availability of trustworthy electronic information. 2024 is existential harm 23 second. Trump presidency supporters of democracy will add seeing America will no longer defend democracy. China will take Taiwan and North Korea, attack South Korea, sugar, nuclear World War III, Trump's elected simulation, ending weather and death of humanity is assured.
The Tension AI race, America's range, short-term the argues in the erase for AI, dominance, Washington's upper hand. Section 230 is a thing. Tension warns Section 230 will contribute $4 million and $440 billion in growth, enabling a world-leading tech industry. After 230 is put in the law, investment tripled, meaning $1 trillion in American job creation. Repealing 230 slash investment. Matthew 19 argues taking away protection has significant negative impact on investment and innovation. Companies are 10 times likely to raise massive funds. Will also curb AI integration. Johnson 23 warns online services may choose not to use AI due to the risk of liability and equal costs. Additionally, Johnson continues. Lack of Section 230 will likely be impose of expensive lawsuits causing services that divert resources away from innovation from covering legal expenses. Overall, out of 23 warns, limiting Section 230 AI trends is still Section success at a time when China and other nations are looking to catch up. The U.S. is to stay at forefront. Policymakers must avoid destroying the building blocks of American success in digital markets. Our lead is key. J19 argues AI generating new challenges. State authority tech progress dominate international relations. using the world's innovation leader, stability to be maintained. If China masters tech in the future before the democratic board, this will lead to a shift in the balance of power, upsetting global stability. Q19 right, China sees an alternative hegemonic power base in the war between the US and China during this transition, inevitable war. History teaches the declining hegemony war is a better option. Showing 17 warns, such a conflict would end like what occurs in escalation, a likelihood of nuclear change is high. Start to find the nuclear war from the free environment, people and dark news, humans advance forever. Contention is going global. The athletes government overstretch and fear is true. Bill Summer 20 argues the US government could attempt to exert content moderation beyond US borders. Existing carve-outs of 230 already allow the DOJ to prosecute for mere knowledge violations, even if content never passes the US. Companies therefore block potential violations globally. A vegan 230 could further allow the US government to influence content posted in other countries. Extraterritorial wars spur internet balkanization. Closeout 17 finds U.S. wants to make again demanded by foreign jurisdictions where countries operate their own decision on how to handle foreign stored data. The approach taken by the U.S. is licensing a model for others. The alternative is a balkanized internet and a race to the bottom of every agency to access sought after data. Fragmentation and pandemic response. 15 finds. Internet balkanization threatens all. It will create challenges. Healthcare industry requires fast, easy access to data, which is not compatible with individually siloed internet. Prevention. Marvel key finds, big data is being used to predict epidemics, cure disease, access to databases and information about problems to be spotted before they occur. Fragmented into crimes, pandemics, and strikes in the future. Diseases could result in the shutdown of our civilization and the extinction of the human race. Contention 3 is cybersecurity. Attacks are rising, sustained defense is critical. Q23 finds that private sector is a critical part of cybersecurity, which is more important than ever with cyber risks on the rise. It is critical that the environment for action and quality be fostered. Making change to 230 might do the exact opposite. That happens in 3 ways. First is malware. Repeal puts anti-malware in its crosshairs. Q continues its out to 30 platform has a moderated dilemma. Leave the malware on the platform to protect from liability, or remove it open source to liability for any other malware on the platform. HH230 could directly spend company up for failure. Resources that can be spent on defending might go to defending against lawsuits instead. Second is firewall. Security filtering is not feasible post-act. Q warns security programs to block potentially malicious programs. Cyber researchers develop at a moment's notice. Section 30 can help defend against a claim that they wrongfully filtered content. Without this, a company might err on the side of caution by leaving up content, knowing this could result in more cyber threats. Third is encryption. Repeal kills end-to-end encryption. IS-22 right to limit the protection of 230 threatens a company's ability to use end-to-end encryption. By putting their liability and immunity at risk, if they do not monitor and filter for illegal content, it threatens the security ability in the U.S. and worldwide. Overall, Q concludes, we might not have the next cybersecurity breakthrough Section 230 protects our laws. Attack is existential. Harbor 18 argues the next crisis might come from a cyber attack that disrupts financial services, causing banks, businesses to be stymied. Harbor 18 finds cyber attacks on nuclear weapons can cause inadvertent nuclear launches through false information and data, thus being data.
Okay. Can I get the first question?
Yeah.
On the C2 regarding the pandemic scenario, did you read uniqueness about pandemics occurring?
Occurring?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so no uniqueness for pandemics occurring, so should we just disregard the theory of your argument because we don't know when the pandemic happened?
No, because if we disregard, if we ignore when time there will be another pandemic, it has to
When?
we don't have to prove to you when, as long as there is another pandemic, like no way predicting COVID can happen in 2020. So it won't be proof that internet organization is really
Yeah, where does the, no, I'm just talking about the clarity of your scenario in general, where does the pandemic occur, when does it occur? That would all be like nice to answer in terms of weighing your argument time frame here.
I can't predict when the next pandemic will occur or where, but if I knew that, then we wouldn't have to make this argument, and the next pandemic will already be solved by now.
You have a question?
Alright. On your fourth argument about politics, so you read evidence that these deepfakes have started right now, but then you read that Biden's going to win the election.
Oh, no, we don't have uniqueness that deepfakes start right now. Our evidence says that deepfakes will start come the election cycle. That's why Biden's winning now. No, election cycle would be the months prior to November, i.e. the run-up September, October, November.
So in those 2 months, are we enough deepfakes to do these straight elections?
2 months is a lot of time, especially when Russia is preparing its efforts right now. We've seen like the signs, but we haven't seen a big response.
So there's signs that they're going to do it.
Yeah, there's signs that they're going to do it, not they haven't. Can I get a question?
Sure.
Alright, so you're arguing about cybersecurity. How many cyber attacks need to slip through the cracks for your argument to occur?
At least one.
Okay, so all of your evidence on the attack scenario says that numerous cyber attacks have already hit financial institutions.
Yeah.
Why haven't these caused global financial collapse?
Because we have Section 230 right now, which is what allows us to essentially protect these attacks from the free warrants to provide.
Your argument says that 230 prevents the cyber attacks from getting in, but your internal link says the cyber attacks have already made it in.
Right. So that's why our argument finds the next crisis might come with cyber attacks that disrupts financial services.
Again, when, how, why hasn't it happened already?
because we have section 230 that's protecting us right now. That's what the Pew evidence concludes.
Harvard concludes that cyber attacks have made it in.
Right. Our Pew evidence concludes we might not have the next cybersecurity breakthrough section 230 protects our law. So if you repeal 230, you won't have the next
With 230 now, cyber attacks are occurring. Why haven't they caused extinction? When will they cause extinction?
Even if they, like, right now, with the protections we have from 230, we're able to successfully deter against them and prevent
No,
them.
Harvard says that they've made it into the financial institutions. I'm looking for an ounce of clarity on the scenario
Okay.
on when it triggers.
So very simply, in your world, no cybersecurity. Cyber attacks, very bad. In our world, we have the 230 protections. Cyber attacks, not bad.
In your world, cyber attacks now, no extinction.
Right. There's no extinction because we have the protections from 230. That's where Pew evidence.
Your argument against 230 is a shield that deflects all cyber attacks. The Harvard evidence says the cyber attacks have already made it into the internet, but they haven't covered scenarios.
Right, because we have 230 to protect us.
But you frame 230 as something that shields all cyber attacks. Your impact evidence
No,
says that
our
cyber
evidence is talking
attacks make it in.
Your argument is about cybersecurity. Even if they did happen, what protection we have now is enough.
Well, cybersecurity is prevention, not mitigation.
Also want to give thank yous. I'll make this relatively short. Thanks to my family, my mom, dad, and little brother for funding and supporting this activity because I wouldn't be able to otherwise. Thanks to Mr. Chris, Ishan, the rest of Strake, all my teachers for helping me stay in school and stuff. Thanks to our junior for sending me motivational TikToks before rounds, and then Ryan and our junior, Raj and Rayhan for praying for me before semis. Also the team, Arnold Levesque, and the rest of the people we prepped with, and then being an amazing project. Okay. Anyone not ready? Great.
On the first contender, first China wins, actually contested, and 2. China's dominating Pentagon's official said that we have no chance for electing towards the collaborative dominating speech of technically innovation compared to China, advancing China's data collection helps to close the gap, and immigration policy done, clause 23. Expertise in the ALA, the country because of the immigration issue industries can't keep enough work because the immigration system hasn't kept with pace with China's trajectory, the yield may be eclipsed by 2030, and no meaning from 230, legal contested, policy 23, applying to the generative AI would not go over 230 production generative AI creating economy by assessing and generating something used which really different immune issue is inapplicable to the output of AI, and if it's so important the government fund more funds for AI research or lend to AI companies or both, the Cold War proves that this is a scenario. Turns case government funding is better than private. Con 21. Government purchase smart conditions for entrepreneur empires following the camp of greater share of innovation than private ownership, coaching innovation for innovation, have ideas, ship completely the idea of protecting currency sharing ideas. And if your impact evidence is truly also caused war, they should balance power with their evidence identifies the dominant theory of war being China's also the destabilizing transition and the racist self-feeding. 17. There's a larger danger over something military to attack the guarantee security, trying to move the mistakes of more advanced nations and implement innovation cheaper, faster, and in a more systematic manner. China by imitating US military tech rather than having to invent tech from scratch can surpass American capabilities. On going forward, first you can be skeptical about the entire argument. There's no capitalization to how 230 first data localization, how the removal it causes, and it looks like competing policies invest something into know how we're going to take away our ability to spend into access. And 2 national acts by 230 are only applicable in America for international deals. The US has a different set of intermediate law protections. No point 230 doesn't affect those 2 biggest data flows agreements. Gas and chip to be unaffected. 3 this argument has nothing to do with internet expansion, even a company fund or restrict certain things. Our ability to expand access to internet services isn't impeded. I.e. internet expansion to infrastructure products don't something superior because we repeal 230. And 4 their evidence these numerous practices are already triggered their impact such as overlapping regulations from different countries with their requirements in DSA Act like the EU passed that both restrict and localize data flows. And 5th countries wouldn't over restrict data. They're adopting AI that allows even small business cheaply and effectively monitor the content and their own impact evidence indicates that over moderation will be economic deficit, so they have instead not to. And data flow restrictions are found in 21. Data localization policies are spreading medicine and force around the world has double restricting data flows. And 7 no extinction, sanitation, medicine, science, and health bodies solved. And viruses can survive in all locations by reaching population like type of research and so many crews solved. And burnout checks either the disease is too lethal to kill quickly or it's not lethal enough and spreads. On cybersecurity, on the moderator's dilemma. First, they can see that cyber attacks have already made the system and we cannot solve all of them. That means even under 230 things like slip through, and their impact hasn't triggered their arguments about total prevention, and that isn't working now. And their evidence does not speak about what companies will do, just as what their options are. Will defend companies will moderate. A uses one and will use their platforms to have the amount of Twitter with zero moderation. Bomber 21. Users will compel platforms to remove content, and sites will become much more cautious about content. And be expertise in Bomber 23. Economics will be imposing from legal liability on online platforms will release disinformation liability would push them towards responsible publishing, and moderation will become easy. At 21, there's already a market for third-party moderation. Secondly, they roll back venture capital rushing to the sector. This would hurt certain media startups skill without having to invent their own. Then we're dealing with illegal user content companies with chip engineers to spend more time on moderation. And no would be reasonableness. 321. To manage 230 where the store duty of care platforms wouldn't need to stop every harmful thing they take reasonable steps to common law reasonable standard would ensure small businesses are treated as large. And not the impact core even one getting through causes they don't know what the impact happens or why countries just attack nuclear reactors from other countries' cybersecurity with weak cybersecurity. No escalation longer 22. In response to a cyber attacks, the administration rejected retaliatory operation and always continued on conflict of cyber deniability, meaning states maneuver without cyber exacerbating tension. Cyber operations by their nature avoid war, and attacks don't escalate. Lewis 20 and cyber attacks require organization and technical skills. Actors don't possess, they are unwilling to take massive retaliation. Their emphasis on espionage and coercion, they are constricted to limit risk. On the link proper.
I'll send the new cards afterwards.
Okay, 230 only slots computer services for Shields. 23 defines the service that the provider enabled computer access. Cybersecurity is non-topical protective measures implemented within such services to ensure their security and other services that provide access or enables computer usage. And cyber defense is impossible. Hill 19, you have 100 holes and you cover 99 of them. You only need to find one hole to break an attack and have very difficult to stop. Indeed, Ranger 18. External cyber attacks are so advanced it could be 20 years before the situation is brought under control. The techniques users use have been ineffective. And no large-scale cyber attacks. Year 17. In cyberspace, despite their problems of proxying and false flags, there's enough attribution to enable the terms laws of 1915. The intensity of cyber aggression is bounded by the risk of retaliation attack and intend to keep the cost they inflict low.
We'll concede that AI is not protected by Section 230, which means that the affirmative will still have AI, which means that all the problems and all the terms will have been built for they're not unique. Then we'll go and go. They say there's no contextualization. They have conceded that American companies and government have done governmental overstretch, which means they have gone through with the FOSS Act, they've gone through and went into opposing other countries' internet, which is why it causes balkanization. Obviously, it hasn't happened on a full scale now, but that is because we haven't affirmed it. Then they say that national acts are only applicable in America. Again, we go outside of American jurisdiction, which is why they get mad. They say that it has nothing to do with internet expansion, but our argument is that balkanization happens because companies and the government is going in and going throughout outside of U.S. jurisdiction, which companies are upset about. Then they isolate numerous factors, but they haven't triggered the impacts, obviously. But the only thing that we have isolated that will trigger the impact is affirming. They say that companies won't restrict data because they're adopting AI, but our evidence indicates that small businesses are going to be overly liable, and I'll get the moderation on their case. They say that favorable flow restrictions are done, but no, our evidence indicates that favorable localization is still not a big problem. However, when you affirm balkanization happens, then on the station, they said it's not going to happen. That's not terminal. Our evidence indicates that because of pandemic spreading from person to person, the amount of people who die, that was burnout isn't going to kill it, and there's still a possibility that a pandemic is going to happen. On cybersecurity, they say it's not possible, but no, our evidence indicates that cybersecurity companies and internet service providers, etc., all are protected by Section 230, even so if they have considered a specific link about encryption, that means that companies will open up backdoors into their websites because they want the government is going to overstretch, which is going to open backdoors. Then they say cyber defense is impossible, and about to bunch of prove every single reason about cyber defense not being good, cyber attacks not having an impact. Yes, that's because we have good cyber defenses in this world. However, when you affirm the cyber defenses go away, they say that cyber defense is possible, but then they also read evidence about how cyber attacks haven't had an impact. That's because of cyber defense. Then they say that there's no, also response to that. They say the moderation, I'll get the moderation on their case, and yeah. Then they say there's no escalation. They have conceded that any bank collapse will cause retaliation because we're going to retaliate if someone attacks our critical infrastructure, and private arguments about private companies being good for cybersecurity and protecting. And we'll go to their case. On domestic terrorism, first 90 companies are solving options for 90 tech companies actively counter-terrorist on 90 facts are broader, more important than anything required by regulation. Second, current litigator for trade-off. Jay finds that repealing Section 232 is both provides liability for removing disinformation, has been no protection for removing objectionable content station, limiting the ability of providers to remove content, creating further disincentives for removing harmful content. In case companies have no incentive to moderate over some incentive in this quote. Then, no nuclear terrorism, no motive expertise means to build or acquisition of safety devices. Nuclear weapons have remained well beyond the capabilities of terrorists, nor does it appear to be reservoir official material, waiting to be weaponized. Cold War offensive, incenting generally moving in direction with fewer nuclear weapons on cartel. No social media companies are solving out anything more unattainable. SMB 23 finds that gets 3 warrants. A, social media companies prohibit the sale of drugs. B, users and dealers circumvent filters. C, once initial content is made, conversations occur through encrypted messaging. Then second, other ways for recruitment, thrusting against people, family, direct recruitment and young people, and those who happen outside of America and Mexico, so we don't have jurisdiction. Then third, distributors, Fletcher 25 said absence 230 OSPs would only be employed. Public liability for dismantling content moderation. If Facebook decided forward moderation would not be considered a publisher or distributor. Distributors should not be liable for defamation for speech unless they know it's defamatory nature. On genocide, Section 230 doesn't protect Facebook. They were the one who caused the genocide, not posted content. Facebook was already sued for breaking the genocide. Jones finds the case was thrown out not because of 230, but because Facebook was not defined as a product of California, so the plaintiff cannot claim strict product liability. And the answer finds that the license international legal framework for which corporates can be held accountable to overseas operation, prosecuting and challenging due to the limited liability company and on election disinformation. Trump is not on the Colorado or Maine ballot. No way he's going to win the election. And no reverse solvency. There are evidence that the deepfakes have already been used, which means that people are already exposed to deepfakes. They can't just reverse that. Then they're really dissolving the Google evidence for talks about disinformation. That the app can't solve its terrifying. The First Amendment protects the overwhelming majority of speech labeled disinformation. That means that platforms that will be reliable for posting speech to on the impact of no reason why Trump going to war will go into cause nuclear war. We can't declare a war of executive branch. We need Congress. They can't do it alone. And the evidence is just from some random guy, in my opinion.
What incentive do actors have to launch like high-scale cyber attacks if your impact scenario is true and there's massive retaliation for the U.S.?
Okay, so if I'm a non-state actor, I can pretty easily frame, like, let's say, obviously I'm not, but let's say I'm like some actor with an incentive to want to hurt America. I can easily do a cyber attack, and given the fact that it's hard to trace, I can just be like,
You're beating
hey,
around
it
the
was
bush.
Russia.
What's
or
the
it's
incentive?
China.
What's the incentive behind doing that though?
Like, what's the incentive for right-wing terror to cause extinction? Obviously, it's
Wait, just answer the
positive
question.
impact,
What's the
positive
warrant why cyber attacks would happen that are large enough to trigger nuclear war?
If I, like, what incentive do companies have to take down, like, objectionable content in the app?
Because they would be held liable for keeping that content on that results in right-wing terrorism.
So, if there is a way for companies to avoid liability, why would they take that?
Yeah, the way they avoid liability is by removing the misinformation.
Yeah, but if they can get sued for removing this information, why would they do it?
They don't. We would argue that one, if they moderate properly, people would have nothing to sue over.
Because-
Two, companies have things like liability insurance, which allows them to basically avoid legal fees that happen.
Okay,
Which
but-
what pretty much every single big business owns, and what a lot of small businesses.
So, but there's
as well.
there's two, like, groups that could be suing. It could be the person that, like, the post harms, or it could be the poster. So if I take it down, sure, the people that post harms won't be mad, but the person who posted the, like, objectionable content can also sue. So
Okay.
why would they have an incentive to sue if your argument is they want to avoid liability?
Wait, sorry, say that one.
So, okay, basically, if I post something and Facebook takes it, or Meta takes it down, I can sue, or in the app, I can sue Meta for taking down my content.
How? Why? What's the reason why they can sue?
What the Che evidence concludes is that there's no more protection for removing objectionable content, because it's like more like a chilling effect, which disincentivizes companies to want to do it.
It's their own private platform. They don't have the obligation to keep information that they don't want on their platforms up there. We have no grounds to sue. Ongoing global,
Yeah.
what's the warrant on why pandemics do cause extinction? And what's the warrant why that gets around all the defense we read? Because the only words you said was, it's not terminal, and then just moved on.
Right, so what I was saying is that A, there's still a chance that pandemics can. Secondly,
Okay, so how
our
does that happen
dynamics,
though? Because we've
our
heard reasons
dynamics-
why it doesn't.
our dynamics evidence indicates that diseases cause like shutdowns throughout civilization, which can cause extra.
So how does shutdown cause extinction?
Okay, obviously like a single shutdown in one place, but if it happens on a scale that shuts down civilizations across the world, then the like capability for humans
Is this
to
one
exist.
evidence?
Now, we'll trip the Chia and the lesser terms about over moderation. Edelman conceded on their case, and Baumgartner conceded on their case. Answers the thesis over moderation. They conceded that Edelman that companies will do AI algorithms and outsource to smaller businesses, which is cheap and effective, means that they can moderate their systems accurately. They've also conceded the Baumgartner term that says that that the companies themselves should rather moderate more than not moderate, because then nobody would use their platforms. They're all run over. The moderation term that lesser gives you conceded duty of care was a reasonable standard, and the reasonability they cause is moderation. You've also conceded that AI means cheap and efficient, that companies outsource professional moderation companies. That's unanswered on their case, which means that they have no terms on cartels. Also, we'll concede all of the defense that there's no impact in nuclear carry, and that cartels are being solved now. Genocide, no offense there. Politics. Extend the argument Biden's head out, but external actors are interviewed with election later in 2024 through misinformation. Defacts is one is the arresting and causes repeals companies responsible for the misinformation of their platforms and opens the liability curve misinformation false claims about Biden, otherwise misinformation through swing states, Trump and Biden loses that. One is the flyer Trump 24 close credibility, White House and Russia, China, North Korea, and others that resulting in appropriating environment to global growth through annexation and disrupt international cooperation, which causes climate change and the existential. On responses, first thing it says Colorado and Maine and ballots. Number one, our argument, those are states that flip democratically and historically. Our five evidences about swing states specifically that Trump will never ever get off of the ballot for. They say defects are already used. They've conceded the 2024 spoiler that Iran, China, first time this many authorities go in, and Russian tech is getting better, and they conceded that they say First Amendment protects disinformation. Number one, term is not true, but the Biden information is defamatory, which means that they would be sued. The companies would take it down following 230. These are lies about Biden's second foreign intervention into our elections is illegal, but companies will have no incentive to solve the problems faster, and that's when you affirm. They say Trump doesn't want nuclear war. Number one, they concede the argument says that Trump kills allied confidence. Trump doesn't start a nuclear war. He kills our allied confidence, so other countries will take over democracy like Taiwan and South Korea. They're attacking us. We're not attacking them. They say it's an opinion piece. No more was that's bad. Insofar as our allies said that they would immediately follow key alliances and ruin key things and authoritarians would launch Trump to get under the White House. Take expert opinion and our impact is good and it's conceded. Here's the way debate. Clarity. There's so much defense conceded on the app. There's no idea when where pandemics are, and also conceded they don't cause significantly kill host 2,000 cyber attacks because they would just attack other countries and have conceded they have zero scope of solvency because their argument is about prevention, not mitigation. They've conceded one cyber attack gets through means that their impacts are triggered, but they haven't, so that means there's no probability in the argument. Here's the way for Trump. Trump happens definitely in 2023 is a clear argument is existential. And here's the link: is he makes pandemics worse and makes cyber worse. He budgets on authoritarian demands, making cyber attacks more likely all across the globe. So it independently overrates their argument on scope because authoritarians has more technology, and scope because all around the world are modeling would be worse for pandemics. And he scorns contact tracing and more methods, which is the reason why pandemics was so bad. And scope it's all across the world on their case. First argument conceded on globalism is that they conceded that the US DSA is a material policy that should have caused their argument already, but it hasn't. They've also conceded that the 2021 evidence says that the polarization or the modernization has doubled in the last 4 years, and they conceded it's not existential because the people who killed the host states, there's still probability. You have no idea what that means. If they've conceded defense, that means the next scenario is so much more probable on encryption. The first argument they conceded is that it's like prevention, not mitigating. People go through. They've also conceded that over moderation argument, they're not winning. They've also conceded the argument that people can just attack other countries and reactors. No incentive to attack the US because we have strong reactors anyways if they wanted to cause chaos, they would attack other countries, and conceded that all of the analysis on the top of our case hates this argument.
The first CP third self-reliant encryption. Prime cybersecurity is booming right now. The backbone of national cyber defense. Forced by making data intermediate at Google level, if they want to do any level of moderation, they would have to show encryption to vet data flows over billion of cyber attacks. The private sector invade solutions for national defense improvements, future cyber breaches which could risk data access counter recession, or attack nuclear facilities during inadvertent launches and war. On the response, the top, they just say that we're already doing this right. Cyber attacks happening right now. However, when we remove the NSD encryption, that's what allows cyber attacks to happen right now. There's no impact all the cyber attacks that are increasing right now. Just the fact that we have encryption right now, we have the shield of the government to look at the data that's going to these private companies. Second, they can see that the over moderation debate. First, the moderation debate doesn't touch this argument. As far as the shield for the government to see what we're doing, there's no moderation that's happening to the data flows that are happening to these private companies. Then we'll get to the rest of the moderation debate on their case. Then they say there's no more why companies or people are going to attack the US for cyber attacks because the US is losing their liability, or protection by the decreasing encryption in cyber. Then people go to either choose cyber attacks as far as other countries still have their cybersecurity post-app. On to the way. First time, we heard evidence cyber attacks are happening right now. The Section 230 in our cybersecurity is protecting. That means the security of the wall goes away. The cyber attacks will happen where the impact we have been able to contain will start having major impact, which is the bank sector decreasing or nuclear war which is launching. Our situation comes before that. We have no idea when their impacts are going to happen. If we're timing over everything, if we're bullying the situation, we're out of situation happens in 5 things. That's by the end of this year, instead of tomorrow, which when we repeal 230. Then up to their way. We try out on 30. First, this is a real lens. Second, the impact things taken on our case is very clearly responding to. When we see pandemics will cause that link, it doesn't matter. There's also no wonder evidence that Trump caused more cyber attacks, and we're also unique that cyber attacks will immediately increase after you affirm. On to their case, starting with the moderation debate. At the top, they say that the element of Washington are conceding that the moderation has to be AI and cheap effective methods, and that moderation will be fine in the after security care. This doesn't interact with the distributor's argument. Insofar as we do not want to allow, do not want to have to face do not have to achieve perfect moderation, which is inherently impossible. They will treat become distributors where they completely get rid of all liability that they want, that they have, that they won't be liable, they won't be able to be sued, which won't affect their incentive types. They should never use AI because it's cheaper and effective. This doesn't matter because that is contingent on definitely that moderation is perfect. As far as they prove that moderation is perfect, that means companies should become distributors, so they get rid of all legal issues with their cases. Then, on to their fourth contention about politics. They risk that they don't have reverse solvency. Evidence that deepfakes have already been used in the past, which should change people's opinions after the change their mind, which is conceded. As far as things have already been used, will be used again. You can't change people's minds. The only thing to do is by maintaining the status quo where the deepfakes aren't bad. Then we'll also read another link, and the way that Russia will be uniting with our election is through cyber attacks and purely proven by 2016. That means if we don't have the proper defense, which is the affirmative role, that means that Trump will get elected even at a faster rate, because more cyber attacks will happen, more deepfakes happen in their role, whereas in our role, maintaining the economy doesn't actually reach the platform because it's still encrypted. There's no backdoors that these companies can use to push their data through the companies who are posting the content. Thus, communicating.
So you made the argument that Russia would now more cause cyber attacks with these deepfakes. Is any of your evidence specific to political institutions on your case?
Well, okay, so if in 2016,
The answer is no. Your evidence is financial institutions, not political ones. Why does the LinkedIn apply?
Okay, I was getting to that. So in 2016, the way that Russia was meddling with our election was through cyber attacks. So if we don't have cyber defenses, and our argument is about
That's not true.
That was a way. That was a way that Russia was meddling with the election in
They-
2016.
they
It
like-
was through cyber attack.
They spread like more disinformation or like false.
Yeah, for your Decency Act also, it's also risk of cyber aggressiveness, and where attackers are also.
That's
So,
not,
not
but
but
like that's a scenario. Wait. No. Our argument about deepfakes. You make the argument that Russia will meddle by cyber attacks for your scenario, yes?
Yes,
But
so
you're
a
arguing-
way that, like, if you're right that Russia is going to be meddling with our election with deepfakes, then they can just,
The premise of the Lincoln is that the encryption that affirming takes away means that Russia can cyber attack us more, which flips the election, correct?
it's.
Okay, but the encryption protections are on financial institutions. That's not.
No, because our evidence indicates that private company, or the government uses private cybersecurity companies in order to protect their institutions as
Wait,
well.
so is that analysis?
And our impact evidence, the Harvard, the farmer evidence indicates that cyber attacks on nuclear weapons, which are definitely not public,
Did you
private
extend
domain.
impact?
So it could,
Of the cyber argument?
Yeah.
I don't think you extended causes extinction.
I use that section right here, I extend.
I'm pretty sure you didn't extend reactor collapse cause extinction.
we can.
I'm pretty sure we're
Pretty sure we did, anyways. Can I get a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about alright, so you read evidence that deepfakes have already been used by Russia.
Oh.
So if that's true, and if you're right that deepfakes change public opinion, then does that mean that public opinion has already been changed on the subject?
Not effectively. The first problem is that you conceded uniqueness and Biden's winning now. The second thing is that this year will be unique. It's not just Russia. Russian tech will be improving for 2024. Other authoritarian actors will go in. It's not reverse solvency. They're getting better, and you conceded the uniqueness now is good, which is the reason why you shouldn't grow. Can I get a question? On cybersecurity, you say that there's no incentive for people to attack others. Who's doing the attacking?
We don't take that.
So out of state actors that want to cause chaos, yeah.
Sure.
Why wouldn't they attack like the other country with a nuclear reactor?
Because those other countries have protected their kill 230.
They also have-
There's no evidence spread that they will. The only evidence spread around is that people are attacking the US.
Wait. Yeah.
On the turn, they say no moderation, but you forgot to respond to reasonably of care. Post-appeal courts adopt duty of care that hold a reasonable standard of moderation, which incentivizes acting moral moderation, regardless there was no impact implicated or waived on office, so the turn is irrelevant. We're going for politics, extremely clean. Biden's head down, but external actors are in interfere with the election later in 24 through misinformation and deepfakes. That's Wednesday, Rossi and Gaza. Repeal whole tonnage response to misinformation in the platforms and open them up to liability, correct misinformation, and false claims about Biden. Otherwise, misinformation flips switch to Trump and Biden loses. That's why I see Filer. Trump did it for kills credibility worldwide, causing red from China, North Korea, and Russia. The result is the nuclear war creating environment too cold to go through to extinction. They say there's no reverse solvency. That's false. Biden's ahead now. Our argument is about future deepfakes that cause Trump to win, and the uniqueness conceded. Let's talk about how Iran is going to be a spoiler in the election, but it indicates it flips tide, and it's also tried of the app. Secondly, they say cyber attacks leaking because of Russian meddling, and they did it in 2016. One, Trump won that election, so it's more uniqueness for us about why you need to solve misinformation, and even if the cyber attacks keeping people informed is key to having the majority of people vote for Biden regardless. Even then, the uniqueness was still conceded, meaning that it's tried after the app. The Lincolns are totally non-unique. Also, they say there's no encrypted protections on political apps like Twitter, which is why Russia's prepped now all their evidence about financial institutions, not political ones. The weighing is pretty clean. You can see that post-app Trump victory ensures authoritarian actors will cause more cyber attacks because Trump makes democracy weak, so this outweighs on scope. And he independently conceded that it emboldens authoritarian actors. This turn out the Lincoln also outweighs on scope because in the app in the next world, they only cause an increase in cyber attacks against the U.S., whereas in the app world, it causes cyber attacks against all democracies through authoritarian countries because now every single authoritarian country is more emboldened. For example, China and North, all those countries were conceded. Our turn outweighs on scope, and even then, again, the uniqueness was 100% conceded. All of the offense that my opponents read is terminally non-unique, which means tried to solving Biden winning the election. Regardless, on their case, they're losing this argument. First off, they forgot to extend the impact. Just look at your flow. Secondly, secondly, they conceded that they would just attack other countries. They say that they would attack the U.S. because we have a lack of systems. No, there are other countries who lack systems as well. And they also conceded that other countries have weaker digital infrastructure. Regardless, they conceded it's impossible to patch all of those, which means their impact is only non-unique regardless.
Okay. Weighing our case there. So okay, let's do it. You gotta give me a second. I'm grabbing a room on my floor. Okay. You gotta give me a second. I need to make room on my floor. You're good. Okay. go for the Lincoln. Our argument is that Russia will be meddling with the election with cyber attacks proved through by 2016. You look it up, they use cyber attacks to meddle with political institutions, which means that if we have proper cyber defense in the neg, that means that we'll be able to solve. Also, they have considered the timer weighing. That means that cyber attacks are happening now. But Section 230 and the amount of Trump getting elected happens in the far future. However, in the next 9 months before or whatever month before the election, our argument is that cyber attacks will turn the tide of the election. Even if tried, they're not going to be able to solve their offense, and you can that cyber attacks are happening as soon as you affirm is conceded. At that point, we'll go to our case. Anyways, extending encryption, privacy, cybersecurity is moving out the backbone of national cyber defense, unfortunately, by making data intermediaries like Google liable for content. They want to do any level of moderation now. They should encryption the data flows opening billions of cyber attacking the private sector, initiate solutions for national defense, confirming prevents use of cyber attack rates, which would risk the impacts and cause of recession attacks on nuclear facilities, triggering interference, not just war. Even if we don't, which problem was continues to start. Also, even if we don't win the extinction scenario, we're still winning the Lincoln and winning it on time frame, so we're winning. Okay, let's go to their responses. They say they were attacking other countries, but they don't need evidence for that. Our evidence is the most specific on the question. It says that countries are the only country the majority of the attacks are happening in the United States. Even if they attack other countries, they also read evidence that the other countries are weaker cyber institutions, which is why the U.S. specifically is not getting the impact isn't specifically happening to the U.S. now. It's because we have the encryption, we have the cybersecurity. It doesn't after you vote act, then that goes away. So we'll go to their case. We'll go to the moderation debate. They have conceded the Luxfer, we'll go to the Luxfer evidence that finds that companies will want to be distributors, not publishers, because they want to be held liable. They read a bunch of warrants as to why it doesn't matter because they have incentives, but they have conceded a very clear incentive. Their own argument is they don't want to get sued, and there's no litigation. And if there is no litigation, if they're a publisher or distributor, then that is their incentive. Also, that takes out their link because there's no incentive to take on the defect. Secondly, they have conceded that moderation has to be perfect, which is our word, which means that it doesn't matter about the duty of care because we repeal it, and they still face liability, and the Lincoln is pretty clean. I am waived. They conceded the weighing off the Lincoln. So yeah.